I'm Batman.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me? Who's got you?
Mr. McGee, don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
I'm a doctor. But probably not the one you expect.
I'm Captain Kirk.
Welcome everyone to a special Geek This Week video, and this is my top 10 Pensacon guests. I have attended Pensacon for 5 years. 2020 will be my 6th year going to Pensacon, and I've gotten to meet a lot of great celebrities and guests in the 5 years that I've gone, and I've gotten to meet some that I thought I'd never get to meet that were my childhood heroes, icons, you might say. So I thought it would be poetic to go ahead and do a list of my top 10 favorite guests that I've met at Pensacon. So the way I comprise this list is their status in geek fandom, their personal interest to me, their what they've contributed into the geek fandom, my personal interactions with them, and such. Just note, some celebrities that may not be on the list that you would feel I'm slighting is not the case. And I'll just go ahead and tell you right now, so it saves a lot of headache, trouble, and people getting all upset, that the great William Shatner, who was at Pensacon 2019, will not be on this list. The reason why he's not going to be on the list is that I met him at another convention in 2016, so it's not fair to put him on this list, as one of the criteria is personal interaction, and I did not interact with him at Pensacon 2019. So, without further ado, let's get to the list and let's get started. Number 10, Rico Brown, Creature from the Black Lagoon. So we're kicking off this list with Rico Brown. For me, being a fan of the Universal Monster movies, and especially the Creature from the Black Lagoon being my favorite out of all the Universal Monster movies, it was just such a great treat to get to meet Rico Brown, who played the creature for all the underwater scenes in all 3 movies. It was a special treat, as he is the only living actor that played a classic Universal monster. I enjoyed his panel and found it interesting, especially him talking about his work after doing the creature movies. As some of you may or may not know, he directed all the underwater scenes for the James Bond film Thunderball, and he also directed Flipper. So to get to sit there and listen to him talk at his panel and then get to actually meet Rico Brown was a special treat to me. And as you can see, the picture of me and Rico Brown is my screen lock picture for my computer at work. So it was really great to meet him, and I had a really great time meeting him and talking to him. Number 9, Sindelle Bergman, Conan the Barbarian. For me, Sindelle Bergman was a unique celebrity meeting, and the reason why she comes in at number 5 on this list is not because of her panel. I wasn't able to, we were not allowed to record that panel. It's the personal interaction that I had with Sindelle Bergman, talking about her movie career and talking about some of her obscure movies that a lot of fans don't know about. One of those being Stewardess School, that co-stars Don Most, who will be at Pensacon 2020. Most of you may know Don Most as Ralph the Mouth from Happy Days, and he also did the voice of the Cavalier in the animated series Dungeons and Dragons. Sindelle was really impressed that I knew a lot about her acting career, especially some of her obscure movies that she did, and had a real pleasurable time talking to her. And she was very sweet and appreciative of my knowledge of fandom, especially of her movies. So it was really nice that to have a celebrity, appreciate, the geekness, I guess I would say. So that's the reason why Sindelle Bergman gets the number 9 slot on this list. Number 8, the cast of Fright Night. For me, growing up as a teenager in the 80s, one of the classic horror movies for me was Fright Night. I just loved watching that movie, and I love vampire movies. And that was everything a vampire fan could have dreamed of. And for Pensacon to get the entire cast of the original Fright Night movie, along with the director, Tom Holland, was just amazing. Of course, Ronnie McDowell was not part because he's passed away. But just to have, Christopher Sarandon and William Ragsdale was pretty awesome. And to sit there and listen to him talk about the making of the film and all the interworks of putting that movie together was pretty cool to listen to. And, it's a memory to have, not only getting the autographs of the entire cast of a movie, but to get your picture with the entire cast, including the director, is a pretty awesome feeling. You could probably see in this picture I look goofy as hell, but I was excited nevertheless. But that movie just holds sweet memories. I just love that movie, and that classic line, nothing beats it. Welcome to Fright Night. For real. Awesome cast. I enjoyed the panel, and for me, getting to meet the entire cast of a classic horror movie, 80s movie, like the cast of Fright Night, can't beat it. So that's the reason why they get the number 8 slot on this list. Number 7, John Wesley Shipp, The Flash. So, in the 90s, I was, a huge comic book fan, but I was really, really hardcore then. And one of my favorite shows was The Flash. I would video record that every episode on VHS, and I watch it over and over again. And I was really disappointed when that series was canceled. I just loved the show and the performance of John Wesley Shipp. And it was pretty awesome when he came back for the new Flash series on the CW, first as Barry Allen's dad, which was serendipity in casting, and then to play Jay Garrett, the Flash of Earth 3 in the TV show. As we know in the comics, Jay Garrett is from Earth 2. So I first got to meet John Wesley Shipp in 2017. And I had a really good interaction with him and talked to him about season 2, being the man in the mask. And I had mentioned to him that I thought it was going to be revealed he was Barry Allen, but the Barry Allen from the 90s TV series. And he said that the producers had almost put him back in that costume. Of course, we did get to see John Wesley Shipp reprise that character in the 2018 crossover Elseworld. So I just had enjoyed the personal interaction with him, and he was again at Pensacon in 2019, and I was at his panel, and I just really enjoyed the panel and just got to know more because it was a one-on-one panel. The first panel he did, he shared the stage with can't remember the other gentleman's name that played Deadshot, but he also Matt Ryan, who of course y'all know played John Constantine, or is playing John Constantine in the CW Arrowverse. Just recently was in Legends of Tomorrow. So I really enjoyed John Wesley Shipp, and it was also cool that after his panel, it was Friday night, his was the last panel, I was tired, and I tweeted, just finishing up at his panel, and had a good time, not on my Facebook page, and I got a comment from him, so that was pretty cool. So anyway, John Wesley Shipp here is on the list at number 7. Number 6, Jonathan Frakes, Brent Spiner, Star Trek: The Next Generation. So this is the first of two celebrities coming in at the same slot, and I combined these two together because they're equal for me. Being a huge fan of Star Trek, especially the original series Star Trek: The Next Generation. As we know, Jonathan Frakes played Commander William T. Riker. Also went to direct several episodes in Star Trek: Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise. You know what? I'm not sure. I don't think he directed an episode of Enterprise, but he's directed several episodes in the new series Discovery. He's directed episodes across the board on multiple shows, including Seth MacFarlane's The Orville. He directed Star Trek First Contact and Star Trek Insurrection. And it was wonderful talking to him. Now, we weren't allowed to record his panel, but I did get to ask him a question at the panel, which was, if you had the opportunity and was offered, would you direct an episode of Doctor Who? Which he emphatically said yes, he would. And that was kind of cool to hear that. Also, talking to him in interaction, it was pretty cool because, you know, sometimes you hear stories about celebrities and you get this kind of apparition, especially if you've heard bad stories about him. But it was very pleasant. He was very, you know, warm, friendly. We talked about, you know, some of his acting career. Mentioned to him an earlier role he had as a guest star on an episode of Badlock and what it was like working with the great Andy Griffith. I mentioned to him that my wife loved him in North and South. And we talked about what my favorite Riker episode was, which was A Matter of Perspective, which Jonathan Frakes was thinking of the plot of The Outcast. And I kind of explained it to him. But it was all in fun. Now, Brent Spinner, I asked him, you know, do you hate cats? Because, you know, it's always, I wish to get rid of Spot and everything. And he explained to me that it's not that he doesn't like cats. He just does not like acting with cats. And he explained that, and yeah, it was understandable. His panel was awesome. He was just terrific. You know, he does great impersonation of Patrick Stewart. It's awesome. So, but they're equal for me, and that's the reason why I'm putting them both at number 6. And it's awesome. And I, with the exclusion of Patrick Stewart, I have almost got the autographs of the entire TNG cast. The only two I have left now are LeVar Burton and Will Wheaton, and hopefully they'll come to Pensacon sometime soon. Number 5, the cast of Buck Rogers in the 25th century. So, growing up as a kid in the 70s, I loved sci-fi, Star Trek, Star Wars, I loved it all. And one of my other favorites was Buck Rogers in the 25th century, which only lasted 2 seasons, but still loved the show. I found myself more toward really liking the second season, even though it was short, and after those short episodes it was canceled. But I still loved the series overall, and it was such a treat to get to meet the cast, the surviving cast of Buck Rogers in the 25th century. Jill Garrard, Aaron Gray, and Felix Seville. It was just great to get to meet all of them. In case you didn't know, Felix Seville, he was the actual physical body work actor for the character Twiki. Mel Blancs did the voice of Twiki. It was not Felix. But overall, the series was great. It had action, adventure, spaceships. It was all in all good. And my interaction with Jill Garrard and Aaron Gray was just awesome. They were just really down to earth, especially Jill Garrard. He didn't, have a complex or anything. He was really super nice, and I really liked that. And very knowledgeable about the series and remembered stuff, and it's kind of cool. especially that it was the 40th anniversary of Buck Rogers in the 25th century. So getting to meet the entire cast was an awesome treat. And as you can see, the picture, I just, really enjoyed myself. I have not posted the panel yet for the Buck Rogers reunion on my page, but it will be coming shortly. So I hope you will watch it and enjoy it. And because you learn a lot of interesting things, as Jill Garrard will explain why we have not seen another Buck Rogers series since Buck Rogers in 25th Century. So they come in at number 5 on this list. Number 4, Lou Ferrigno, The Incredible Hulk. As I've said earlier in portions of this video, that I still am, and I was just a huge comic book fan, and I love, the superheroes, Super Friends, Spider-Man, The Incredible Hulk. And when that series came on, I remember watching the very first episode, and where David Banner transforms into the Incredible Hulk for the first time. The thunder, the lightning, Ferrigno all in the Hulk makeup and the full costume. He leans back and roars, and the lightning strikes down. It gave me chills. I went to bed that night having nightmares as a little kid, and me and my brother had bunk beds. I slept on the top bunk bed, and I fell out of the bed that night and busted my chin open, screaming, thinking the Hulk was coming to get me. So getting to meet Lou Ferrigno was just a real honor, and I told him that story, and he got a chuckle out of it, and that just made me smile. Getting to tell him that story and him, having that, chuckle. And, attending his panel was awesome too. Listening to him talk about his career and stuff, especially talking about the moment that his son saw him for the first time in makeup when he was doing the Incredible Hulk reunion movies. It was just a really swell treat, and it's interesting to listen to Ferrigno talk about his overall career. But like I said, for me, one of my childhood memories was watching the Incredible Hulk. So to get to meet the Incredible Hulk himself, the only actor to physically play the Hulk, period, no CG, no nothing, Lou Ferrigno, he is the Hulk. And to get to meet him and get his autograph and get my picture with him was just super awesome. So Lou Ferrigno's number 4 on this list. Number 3, Colin Baker, Peter Davison, Doctor Who. So for the third slot, it's a tie again, and that being with the 5th and 6th Doctor, Peter Davison and Colin Baker. Doctor Who, I enjoyed as a kid. If you lived in the U.S., the Doctor you grew up on was Tom Baker, but I remember watching the Peter Davison stories and then the Colin Baker stories. And while growing up, I wasn't much of a fan of the 6th Doctor. As an adult, I've gained a new appreciation for the 6th Doctor, and it was just a treat to get to meet Colin Baker, the very first Doctor I've ever gotten to meet, in 2015. And it was just really great to meet with him, and to get to meet someone like that at your very first convention like a Pensacon was pretty cool. So the following year, 2016, was the chance to meet Peter Davison, the 5th Doctor, someone that I grew up on and appreciated, and I got to ask him at his panel, did the producers pick the celery lapel because they knew your utter distaste for celery? So that was good to get to ask him that question. And I really enjoyed Peter Davison, and getting to go back and watch his first year as the 5th Doctor was pretty awesome, which was recently released on Blu-ray here in the U.S. So this past Pensacon 2019, we got the return of not only Peter Davison but Colin Baker also, and I had to do the dual photo op with him in front of the TARDIS. Who could not turn down doing that? Even though I had already had their autographs, and I already had my pictures with them, as you've seen. It was like I could not do it. I had to do it. So, and I'm glad I did. I enjoyed their panel together, and I will be posting that panel in a short while. But, and here's the cool thing. This is the reason why they get number 3 on this list. After their panel, they stayed to sign autographs. How cool was that? Now, there was a long line and everything, and I needed to get home, and I wasn't going to, waste the time where somebody who really has never gotten an autograph from them not get the opportunity. So, but nevertheless, really cool. They come all the way from England here to sunny Northwest Florida for a convention. Is awesome. So they get number 3 on the list. Number 2, Marina Souris, Star Trek: The Next Generation. So Marina Souris gets the number 2 slot on this list, being one of the first celebrities that I met at Pensacon 2015. And the reason why she gets this slot is interaction. Probably one of the funnest celebrities that I've had interaction with. Me and my friend attended her panel on Saturday, and she split her time with Garrett Wang, who you all know played Harry Kim, Star Trek Voyager. In that 30 minutes, listen to her talk about her acting career and stories during the 7 years of Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'm sitting there listening to her talk and her mannerisms, and I'm thinking, like, she could be my wife's long-lost sister. So the next day, Sunday, I was, waiting in line to get her autograph, which she was about an hour late getting there. But instead of sending a volunteer to bring us in, she goes in, sets her stuff down, comes back out, and motions us all in, which was really cool. And so when it's my turn to get my autograph, I told her that I really enjoyed her panel, and listening to you talk remind me of my wife. She's like, "Oh, your wife's British." I'm like, "Oh, no. It was your mannerisms." She means, "Oh, you mean feisty?" I'm like, "Yeah." She looks at me and says, "You poor man." And it's just that kind of interaction just sticks in my brain. So that's the reason why she's getting number 2 on this list. And as you can tell, I was pretty happy there in that picture. So nevertheless, Marina Souris gets number 2 on my top 10 Pensacon guest list. Before we get to the number 1 Pensacon guest, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, John Barrowman, Doctor Who, Arrow. So, John Barrowman gets the number 1 slot on this list, and I think actions speak louder than words. This video clip here will explain why he gets the number 1 slot on this list.
Torchwood and Doctor Who. John Bergman.
it just blew my mind when I saw that. Like at his panel, and it was just you can't forget it. And he was just so wonderful to interact, especially when while we were waiting for them to set up the camera for the dual photo op with him and Arthur Darvell. So it was really good, and I told him he had made my face turn 3 shades of red, and he says, "Well, that's what it's all about. Have fun," and I did have fun. So I just feel like he deserves the #1 slot on this list. So that's the top 10 list. So that's my top 10 Pensacon guests. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check out all the other great videos on the Geek This Week YouTube channel, including a bunch of panels from Pensacon. A lot of the celebrities you saw listed in this video, their panels are on the channel unless I otherwise noted, or will be coming. And check out all the other great stuff that I have on the channel. And thank you guys for all your support, and thank you for making the Summer Glout panel a success with the number of views within a short period of time, especially with the difficulties that I had shooting that panel due to the restrictions I was put under. I appreciate you guys' understanding and support, and I do have a lot of other videos, unfortunately, that are going to be like that, so I do appreciate you guys' support. So if you attended Pensacon, who was your favorite guest that you got to meet and your personal interaction with them? Leave that in the comment section. I'd love to find out who your favorite was and what your personal interaction with them was like. So until next time, guys, thank you for watching. Appreciate your support.